Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mountain64. Today, talking some more on Battlefront 3 or Battlefront 2015. Don't exactly have that name yet. Of course, we're going to be getting some more detail in just a couple more days. If you want to check out my previous video, I kind of broke down what this game is about and what we can base it off, at least from Battlefront 2, which is what gameplay you're seeing on screen here, of course. But this is going to be more of a discussion video in terms of gameplay mechanics, what I think should be in the game, or what we could possibly expect from this. From my last video, the comments and you guys seem extremely hyped for it, as I am. Definitely. But a lot of people from the comment section, as well as things I've been reading on Twitter, subreddit, think that this is probably going to be very similar to the Battlefield series. Some people are scared that it's going to be too similar to the Battlefield series in general, in terms of how the game plays and in terms of what it looks like. From the release of Battlefield Hardline, at least, okay, here's the thing. Battlefield Hardline didn't quite have as big of a release, especially on PC, compared to what Battlefield 4, Battlefield 3 did, and a lot of that was people saying this game's too similar, it's the same thing, it's just a mod, it's not really that big of a change, why am I spending so much money on not that big of a change of a game, it's pretty much the same game, things like that, right? And a lot of people are worried that's what's going to be with Battlefield, or with Battlefront 3 as well, the new Star Wars Battlefront, right? They don't want another, I think, including myself, maybe something different from what Battlefield Hardline was to Battlefield 3 and 4, where it should be completely separate, and I think that's what we can expect. Although they are similar and do have similarities, they are completely different series. They don't have anything to do with each other, at least before this point. Right now they have DICE developing both of them to a degree, so you have more similarity there, but previously they didn't. And if anything, DICE, I think, is just going to be able to enhance mechanics that were in Battlefront, bringing it into the new game with experience that they have from Battlefield 3 and 4. If you think about it, Battlefield, Bad Company, Battlefield, the previous Battlefields were already set in place, and DICE came in with Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4, further developed those games, increasing the destructible environment and increasing what people liked about it, and just making a very smooth game on the Frostbite engine, just emphasizing the beauty of it and taking the design to the next level, right? That's at least what I kind of see from it. Making the classes more unique, more playable, and just more fun. In Star Wars Battlefront, there are some similarities to Battlefield, where you have the similar class system. So, at least how it was in Battlefront 2 was you had actually 6, once you kind of got the game going, got some points, you could unlock 2 more classes, but you had a class system set up. You had characters that threw down, actually one character threw down the health and ammo, and then you just would instantly pick it up. And as well as there's a repair tool guy, there's a lot of similarities between that with the different class system. There's also vehicle mechanics, flying vehicles, ground vehicles, tanks that are in both series. There's also projectile weapons, where when you shoot a bullet, it doesn't necessarily just laser beam hit them, it's bullets that shoot out and actually have to travel and hit the target. You need to lead it a little bit. Now, Battlefront 2 didn't have bullet drop, but you did need to lead it as it went. Now, this is why I can see people a bit worried about the transfer over from Battlefield to Battlefront, similar to how we had issues between Battlefield 4 to Hardline being so similar, but I think that changeover was much more specific to that series. And it wasn't even exact between those two games, but there was just a lot of similarities. But if you think about it in context here, it's so different, these games, and they're part of different series. I think this is really just going to be more of taking their expertise of what they've learned using the projectile system, using the vehicle system, and the different class setup and all of those things, maybe taking those lessons and applying it to Battlefront, right? And taking all of that feedback and all of those years of experience, and I think that should be more of a benefit than anything. And on top of that, something that's really unique to Battlefield is the destructible environment. Now, could we see destructible environment in Battlefront? That would be pretty sick. I'm crossing my fingers. It's something I think they could do. I would love to see that, but that's not something that was necessarily native to Star Wars, right? That wasn't in Battlefront. There was no destruction or anything. That was more specific to the Battlefield series. Then DICE just expanded on it, and it's something that I would love to see in the series if it does get implemented. Another point, though, that makes this a lot more unique is the fact that they have melee characters, melee-only characters within Battlefront, right? You have Jedis in the game that you got to take into account. One of the more long-range aspects that they do have is they can use the Force. Of course, they can also throw their lightsaber out in a boomerang. That was something that was super common across all the different Jedis, of course, except for Boba Fett, who had more of the pistol action, the bounty hunter. Anyways, it's a different aspect within this game that they're going to have to incorporate and take over, right? And the setting for these games are completely different as well. So there is a risk of them being very similar because of a lot of the similar aspects, but with the settings different and everything, that's what I think is really going to make this more diverse and unique. But one of the core features within these games is the classes, and if they kind of take over the same classes, just bring that system over from Battlefield, it will feel the same no matter what. And, you know, because game after game, you will be playing with the same classes, and if that core functionality is the same, you might run that risk. But I think because there's going to be so many new things within the game, that's going to be okay. Personally, I think they've done such a great job in Battlefield with the class system and the development for that, especially with Hardline, which I personally really enjoyed how they made some of the changes with spawn beacons and things like that in that game. I think they have learned a lot and can incorporate it, which will be really interesting to see. And I think one of the solutions to that really is just going to be the gadgets within that. Plus, of course, all the weapons are going to be different. This is going to be laser weapons rather than classic bullet weapons, so at least the animations, everything's going to be different. The damage overall within games are generally the same, so like I said, the gadgets I think are going to be the key points, and how much they can explore that range of what the different gadgets do and how they incorporate that is going to be really interesting, because this is going to be coming out with the actual movie, right? We're going to be getting the next Star Wars 7 coming out, so maybe it'll have something to do with that. We'll see what kind of creative aspects they can go into with what they think would be cool in the game, but that's why I'm not worried about gameplay mechanics. If anything, I'm more excited than anything to see what they do with the Jedis, how they handle the vehicles, and all the different aspects that are unique to the Star Wars series. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new to my channel. Click a thumbs up if you enjoyed. If you want to see some more Battlefront video, check out my previous one where I talk about Battlefront 2, how that game works, and some things we can expect coming over to the next one. And stay tuned for once we get the official information, April 17th. I'll be talking about my thoughts on it, as well as a lot more stuff. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. This is Stallmouse64 signing out.